Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. We have some major news involving the United States of America, NATO, and Russian fighter jets. It appears NATO might have made the decision with the United States backing to start shooting down Russian fighter jets that breach NATO airspace. You heard me correctly, folks. We might be nearing the point of a shoot down of a Russian fighter jet or multiple Russian fighter jets, which would be a major step up the escalation ladder, but it might not also go the way you think. We're going to get into it, and this is a fluid situation. I want to stress that to everybody. We do not know how this is going to go. It could spiral out of control. It could put an end to a lot of stuff immediately. That's what chaos is, ladies and gentlemen. Once you're on the escalation ladder, it's impossible to predict when you're going to get off or when you're going to climb down. This situation with Russia does appear like it is going to pop off in a major way. So I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, break down all the latest updates. But as always, before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free, costs you nothing at all, and is a huge, huge boost to the channel. We did just pass 200,000 subscribers, so thank you very much. I'm grateful to you all. I could not do this without you. Everyone watching this is equally as big a part of this as I am, so thank you much. Please comment with your thoughts below. Do you want to see NATO shoot down Russian fighter jets? Do you think we should not get involved? What do you think is the best way to handle Russian fighter jets breaching NATO airspace? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that notification bell. All notifications turned on. You won't miss a single thing. You have the best information on all of YouTube. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. That's where you can find me. My DMs are open. If you have any information at all whatsoever, or you just want to reach out and say hello, please reach out right there. Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. Now let's get into it. As viewers of the channel know, there have been multiple air incursions by Russia into NATO airspace. There's been drones that went into Poland and had to be shot down. There were drones that went into Romania. But the most troubling of them all, without question, was multiple MiG-31 Russian fighter jets breached Estonian airspace and set off a mad dash to respond with NATO aircraft to drive the Russian fighter jets away. It did take 12 minutes for NATO aircraft to get up and get them out of NATO airspace, which is not great. You want to be able to move much, much, much faster than that. But they were able to scramble, I believe it was F-35s, to chase out the MiG-31s in a dogfight. An F-35 is going to destroy a MiG-31 for the one simple reason it has stealth capabilities and is very, very maneuverable. If they had F-22s on standby, which the United States doesn't give to any country, that dogfight would be over before the MiGs even knew what hit them. So there's been a spiral of events that has caused NATO countries to meet repeatedly and ask, how are we going to deal with these Russians getting into our airspace? I'm going to pull this up on the screen for you. This was President Donald Trump asked point blank about shooting down Russian.
Any questions?
Mr. President, do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
Mr. President,
So we'll just watch it again in case you missed.
Any questions?
Mr. President, do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
Mr. President.
So there's President Donald Trump right there. I'm going to pull this off the screen real quick. There is Russian president, sorry, not Russian president. There is United States President Donald Trump. That was a few days ago. He said without hesitation, these jets should be shot down. If they are violating NATO airspace, shoot them down. Well, it looks like that's exactly what might be about to start happening. So this comes from Bloomberg. It says European diplomats, here we go. I'll scroll down a little bit further. It says European diplomats warned the Kremlin this week that NATO is ready to respond to further violations of its airspace with full force, including by shooting down Russian planes, according to officials familiar with the exchange. So they have told Moscow outright, we are going to shoot these planes down. You want to send fighter jets into NATO territory, we will blow them out of the sky. So it says, at a tense meeting in Moscow, British, French, and German envoys addressed their concerns about the incursion by 3 MiG-31 fighter jets over Estonia last week, according to the officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity as the talks took place behind closed doors. Following the conversation, they concluded the violation had been a deliberate tactic ordered by the Russian commanders. Russian officials have denied their planes crossed into Estonian airspace and insisted that they were not trying to test NATO. They said a separate incident when drones crossed into Poland was the result of an error. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov this week said Russian military flights are guided by international rules. NATO's eastern members have faced a series of violations this month that have posed an unprecedented test of the alliance's resolve at a moment when Vladimir Putin is stepping up Russian attacks on Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and U.S. backing for Kyiv is wavering. The UK stands ready to robustly defend our airspace against any incursion, a government spokesperson said. President Donald Trump this week urged Ukraine to win back all territory captured by Russia with the support of the European Union and define the U.S. role of selling weapons that allies could ship to the battlefield. So right here you have a map. The pink area is where we know for sure there have been Russian incursions in the airspace. Russian drones were reported in Romania, Poland, and possibly Denmark, and fighter jets were reported in Estonia. The account of the meeting shows that Putin has given a more forceful warning about the volley of jets and drones into the skies over Eastern Europe and offers an insight into the brinksmanship between the two sides. During the talks, a Russian diplomat told the Europeans that the incursions were a response to Ukrainian attacks on Crimea, the official said. The Kremlin said those operations would not have been possible without NATO support, and as a result, Russia considers that it is already engaged in a confrontation, including European countries. So what you're looking at right here is Russia is saying, hey, look, we think we're at war with NATO, which means we're going into your airspace. We're at war with all of NATO, not just Ukraine. We're going into your airspace, and NATO's responding with, try it again. We will shoot your planes down. Do not test us. Do not test us, or we will blow your MiGs clean out of the sky. Not only is Russia testing the NATO countries in Europe, this comes from Newsweek. They're also testing us here in America. They flew into our defense zone near Alaska. It says the United States and Canada scrambled multiple aircraft to track Russian military planes flying near Alaska on Wednesday. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, said that its aircraft tracked two Tupolev Tu-95 4-engine strategic bombers. I believe that bomber is codenamed the Bear, and two Sukhoi Su-35 air defense fighters in the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. NORAD, a joint U.S.-Canadian command, said it dispatched an E-3 Sentry surveillance plane, 4 F-16 Fighting Falcons, and 4 KC-135 aerial tankers to intercept the Russian aircraft, which did remain in international airspace. It comes days after Estonia said the Russian aircraft had breached the NATO members' airspace. So right here is the map. You can see where the defense zone is. That's where the Russians got into, and then we scrambled fighter jets to take care of it. It says why it matters. NORAD revealed the intercept days after Estonia said that Russian aircraft had breached NATO members' airspace, prompting Tallinn to invoke Article 4 of the Alliance Charter for Security Talks. Russian military craft flew near North America could be interpreted as another move by Moscow to test NATO's resolve during high tensions with the alliance. All right, I'm going to pull this. We'll stop sharing this on the screen. So we are now at the brink, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I know we have some women who watch this show too. Wasn't trying to not include you, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the brink. We have told the Russians, we will shoot your planes down if you do this again. President Trump is demanding the planes be shot down. NATO is ready to shoot the planes down. And while this is happening, Russia is flying bombers and fighter jets near Alaska, near U.S. territory. It is worth noting Russia has done this many times before. They like to get right up to the line of American airspace with their bombers and fighter jets and then peel off. So they're not technically violating our airspace, but what they're doing is they're testing our defense time. Now, if they don't enter our airspace, they're not going to be shot down. They can be in the defense zone. They're still not going to be shot down. Like I said, they've done that many times. So what are the Russians doing? They're doing two things. They're testing response time. They're testing to see how long it's going to take for U.S. bombers to get, U.S. fighter jets to get in the air, NATO fighter jets to get in the air. In case they wanted to do something for real, they would know exactly how long it takes for them to get in there. 12 minutes ain't going to cut it. It ain't going to cut it. NATO needs to be much, 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 much quicker than that. So that's point one. They're testing our response time. Point two, they're testing our resolve. They're seeing, will anything happen, or can we breach your airspace and you will choose to do nothing about it? That's not good either, because at some point, if you tell people we're going to shoot your planes down and they keep doing it and you don't shoot them down, the bully is going to start to learn that there's not going to be any resistance. So what happens if you shoot the planes down? One of two things happens. Russia admits it violated airspace of a sovereign NATO country and backs off and doesn't do it again. Or Russia uses it to start a war with NATO, to say, hey, you shot our planes down. It won't matter where they were. It won't matter they were violating NATO airspace. They will not care. They will not care. That's the fact of the matter. And they then will use that to justify larger military action. It's a nasty, nasty game out there, but that's the fact of the matter. So we need to be very calculated. We need to be very careful. And we need to make sure that we don't fire until we know we are justified in doing so. But I'll tell you this much. Russian fighter jets in a matchup with American fighter jets or F-35s controlled by NATO are going to get smoked. Smoked. Fifth generation fighters against fourth generation or third generation fighters have no hope. The fourth and the third generation ones have no hope against fifth generation fighters. God forbid some F-22s get in the air. You would see a massacre unlike anything the Russians could imagine in the air. That's what we're waiting on. We'll see if it happens. But this situation continues to ratchet up as the temperature gets turned up. Russia is testing us. We'll see how far they're willing to go. NATO is saying we will shoot you down. We'll see if they actually back that threat up. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Should we shoot down Russian fighter jets or not? Let me know in the comments below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge, 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 huge boost to the channel. Go ahead and hit that the notifications bell. All notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. DMs are wide open. Send me any information you got, and I will be sure to look out for it, or just reach out and say hello. I appreciate that too. I'll see you all next time.